They're in the abyss, but culturally, there is this kind of silent, are we allowed to say this?
The actual clinic was closed, so nobody was even there. But the police approached her because clearly someone grasped her up.
Citizens can talk all they want about protecting freedom of expression, but the truth is they're lying. Whether they're lying through ignorance or something more sinister.
I might be playing in my head.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station?
Within days, the delegation, which includes former members of Trump's White House Faith Initiative, religious liberty activists and US legal advisors, will land in London. The team's mission is to observe, document and challenge the disturbing erosion of basic civil liberties in the once great United Kingdom.
The visit in March is the latest sign of the Trump administration's willingness to intervene in domestic British affairs.
According to Trump's statement posted on Truth Social, it is utterly shameful that peaceful Christians are being arrested for silently praying on a public street. Trump added in his post, "This is anti-human, not simply anti-Christian." Once a stronghold of liberty, Britain has turned into a police state under Keir Starmer's leadership. We will not be silent.
If I've got a choice, then no.
Okay, well then you're under arrest on suspicion of failing to comply with the public spaces protection order.
Seriously.
A number of arrests committed in accordance with buffer zone laws, which make it illegal to protest in any way, including silent prayer, within specified boundaries surrounding abortion facilities, are at the heart of the debate.
UK, they are gravely concerned about free speech in Britain.
I think that things have gone a little bit too far in this country.
Videos of police interrogating people who are standing silently next to these areas, some with their heads down, others clutching rosary beads, went viral and sparked outrage around the world.
Necessary. The whole thing is unnecessary. It just proves that the priorities of the police have changed.
In one particularly startling video, police ask a woman if she is praying in her head before handcuffing and removing her.
I might be playing in my head.
So I'll ask you once more, will you voluntarily come with us now to the police station?
The government of Prime Minister Starmer has defended the rules, claiming they are essential to guaranteeing access to healthcare and shielding patients from harassment. However, detractors contend that the law is dangerously dictatorial, ambiguous, and too broad.
Well, I'm afraid to admit the ugly truth tonight that there is no such thing as free speech in the UK.
The arrests were seen as deeply alarming by British MP Miriam Cates, who also cautioned that we are criminalising thought, not action. Trump's involvement is very explosive. Even though he is no longer in office, his impact on conservative politics around the world is still significant.
President Donald Trump sent US officials to the UK on a fact-finding mission after becoming so concerned with the erosion of free speech in Britain.
By establishing a free speech delegation, he is establishing himself as a global champion for civil liberties, especially those related to expression and religion, as well as a protector of American principles. In order to create what Trump referred to as an international coalition against tyranny, the team is anticipated to meet with religious leaders, legal experts from the UK, and even some of the protesters who were detained.
The five-person team met with 5 activists who had been arrested in the UK for silently protesting outside abortion clinics across Britain.
They're in the abyss, but culturally, there is this kind of silent, are we allowed to say this?
Although the UK government has not yet issued an official statement in response to Trump's declaration, Whitehall insiders claim that the action amounts to unprecedented interference in domestic affairs. It was described as political theatre from a man who thrives on chaos and division by a top aide to Starmer.
I would say to the Americans coming over and lecturing us on how to run the place, they display total ignorance of our system so often.
However, the arrests and Trump's reaction have taken centre stage in UK news, putting Starmer in the spotlight at a time when his approval ratings were starting to rise. Trump has already used international cultural conflicts to rekindle his support.
So why are they coming here telling us what to do? And you said they're intervening. They're not intervening, Ben, they're interfering and they need to butt out.
Trump has continuously positioned himself as a representative for the oppressed majority overseas, from Canada's contentious handling of pandemic-related protests to France's secularist attack on religious symbols. However, the UK prayer arrest case seems to have resonated in a special way, fusing aspects of free speech, religious freedom, and government overreach in a way that is entirely consistent with Trump's rhetoric.
Can talk all they want about protecting freedom of expression, but the truth is they're lying. Whether they're lying through ignorance or something more sinister.
His base is reacting already. Prominent American evangelical organisations have expressed their support for the mission and pledged to provide both financial and volunteer help. Conservative media sites, including Fox News, have given the subject a lot of airtime, portraying it as a preview of what Democrats want to bring to America. Prominent Christian figures such as Robert Jeffress and Franklin Graham have commended Trump for speaking up when others remain silent. In the meanwhile, UK civil rights organisations are unsure on how to react. While they have voiced their concerns over the arrests, groups like Liberty and Big Brother Watch have refrained from supporting Trump's delegation. One legal analyst stated, "You don't have to agree with Trump to see that this is dangerous territory."
That they also have their authorities, and they could have dealt with this differently, I guess. But this is the country we're living in, and
Dozens of British people every day are being arrested by Stasi police forces for thought crimes in Britain.
We should never have crossed the line of arresting people for their thoughts while they are in public. In order to protect public safety, without seeming to restrict free speech, Starmer's Labour Party is attempting to tread carefully.
they initially went into it, and they literally instantly going to arrest her. This is the problem, and she knows.
The people who get offended by stuff which really should be allowed under free speech in this country.
However, the optics are harmful, as pictures of women in handcuffs for praying are now all over the internet.
That kind of environment stifles creative thought out of fear of being cancelled or, worse, as we've seen in this country, imprisoned.
The actual clinic was closed, so nobody was even there. But the police approached her because clearly someone grasped her up.
Although the measure may have the backing of the party's progressive base, moderate and religious voters are starting to have uneasy concerns. Protests are already being organised as the Trump entourage gets ready to land. Some UK residents are applauding the decision, expressing gratitude for the international attention, and feeling abandoned by their own government. Others are incensed, accusing Trump of taking advantage of a delicate subject for his own political advantage.
A team from the US State Department spent days in the country and interviewed pro-life campaigners to feed back to the White House.
But she wasn't even doing that. She was simply standing there, and she, as I say, she's done it before when the clinic was closed. She's not approaching anybody.
One thing is clear regardless of one's position. This is no longer solely a local policing issue. The fight for free speech, protest and prayer in the UK has spread throughout the world with Trump now involved, and the consequences are only getting started.